and welcome to our Christmas card workshop. So today I'm going to be showing you a couple of techniques to create these cards, but obviously it's totally up to you as to what you would like to create. It may even be that you'd like to create pictures instead, in which case you can cut these in half. So yes, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques and then it's up to you to experiment with that afterwards. So for this workshop we'll need our brown card and envelopes, a glue stick, some coloured papers or magazine, a black biro, white pen, pencil, and a pair of scissors. You might also like some scrap paper because we might like to do a bit of sketching rather than doing it straight onto our paper. So I'm going to start off by showing you how we're going to do this technique here. So this is the baubles hanging from the top. So I'm going to move these out of the way and then we can start. So to do this, I'm going to use my papers for this one, and I think I'm going to use my magazine. Basically, I've just got 3 magazines that you can pick up in supermarkets. They've often got loads of lovely colours in because of all the foods in there, and once you cut them out, they don't look like foods at all. So I'm going to use these for my baubles. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose what kind of shapes we want. So baubles, lots of different shapes. They don't just have to be round, although you can do them round if you prefer, but they can have all sorts of lovely curves to them. They can be long, they can be short, that's up to you. So if you just got a round one, you might like to draw around something round. You might like to draw around your Pritt stick on here, that'll get a nice round circle. Or you might just like to do it freehand. In terms of the more complicated shapes, a lot of baubles are symmetrical and it's often hard to draw symmetrically. So one little tip is, for example, say I want this paper, I'm just going to gently fold it so that there's a line down the middle. I'm going to draw half of my bauble. So this is going to be the top, and then I'm going to do some wiggly pattern down and then a point at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is just cut along this line that I've made. But obviously, because I folded it in half already, it's going to then open up and create a symmetry. I'm going to cut along this line, and then I've got the lovely symmetry of it. Okay, so that's 2 of them. I've got the round one and I've got this lovely wiggly shape. So now I'm just going to do some more. Okay, so once I've cut all of my pieces out, I'm then just going to arrange on the card where I'd like them. And then you may have noticed that on this card here, it looks as almost as if they've got a white outline around them. Now you can use your white pen, and that's what I'll be showing you on the Christmas tree card. But you can also, to get a really bold line, is to almost mount it onto some white paper. Now you don't need much white paper, so it can be scrap paper. So I've just got a little bit of scrap paper that I found, and all I'm going to do is with my piece, okay, so I've got one of my baubles and I'm going to glue on the back. Now when you glue, if you don't want to get your table mucky, you can just get a piece of scrap paper and just glue on the back. It's important that all of the sides are covered. I'm going to glue it down. And then I'm going to stick my piece onto my white card. And then I'm going to cut around it with a little bit of an outline. Okay, so now I've got this, I can then do the same with all of my other pieces if I want to, and then I'm going to stick them down to my card. And then once you've stuck the baubles down, it's an option to then draw a little bow on top of each one as a nice little decoration. You might like to draw the string that's holding the baubles up, so you can do that freehand, or you can use a ruler. So I'm going to do that now. So I've got my bauble Christmas card. Okay, So now we're going to move on to our Christmas tree one. So if you find cutting out the white paper around the baubles a little bit tricky, then remember you can just use your white pen to go around it, or you don't have to do any outline at all. On this one, I use the white pen. And again, this is a different technique from the bauble one. So for this, again, I'm going to want some scrap card or paper. I'm just going to use this. I'm just going to rip the little bit of the gluey bit off that I've glued on and use this as my gluey sheet. And then I'm going to draw a template of the shape that I would like. So I'm going to be doing a Christmas tree. So to do that, I want my Christmas tree to be symmetrical. So I'm going to use a ruler to measure. I'm going to do mine 6 centimetres wide, and therefore I'm going to mark where 0, 3 and 6 is. I'm going to draw up where that 3 centimetre was. And then from the 2 sides, where the 0 and the 6 centimetres were, I'm going to decide where I want my top point of my Christmas tree to be and draw the Christmas tree like so. And now I've done that, I'm going to cut out the outline nice and neatly. Now remember, this is just a template, so it doesn't matter if any of the pencil is showing. And then if you saw on the Christmas tree that I did on here, it's got little gaps in between. That's just a styling choice. So obviously you could just cut out a triangle, okay? But to create these little gaps, all we do is actually draw in your template first the different sections. So I want this top section to be one colour. And then we want that little gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw 2 lines, and it's this middle bit that we're actually not going to want. And I'm going to do that all over. I'm going to do another section down here. Again, we're not going to want this section. And then I'm going to do another section here. And again, we won't want this section. And then I'm just going to number them so that we know again which way round they are. Okay, so once I've numbered my sections, I'm then going to cut around, but making sure that I cut exactly on the line. That's quite important. If you don't, it's fine. It's just that you'll get more of a precise and kind of matching up of the shapes if you do cut more precisely. I'm going to cut along this line here. Along here. This is one of my shapes. And then we don't need this middle section. I'm going to be cutting along here and so on and so forth. It's good to lay it out as you go along. And you can do more than 4 sections. It just gets a little bit complicated if you do loads and loads of bits as to where to match them up again. So now I've done that, I'm actually going to use magazines this time. You can use the bits of paper in your craft box, but I've got lots of gorgeous magazines. Again, just get these for free, maybe in the supermarket, and I'm going to choose what colours I want. So for this one, I chose kind of blues and greens. For this one, I might choose some maybe pinks and browns instead. Christmas trees don't have to be green, it's whatever colour you'd like. So I'm going to use my pen because they tend to show up better on magazines. And then I'm going to choose the area that I'd like. So I'm going to draw around it, draw around my shape on the area I'd like, and then just cut it out of here and then lay it where my piece was. Okay, so here you can see I've got my template on the left and then what I've cut out on the right. So now I'm sticking my pieces down to my card. Now I've just used again my gluey piece of scrap paper and gluing the back of them onto here, and I've started I started by laying all of these pieces out to make sure it was in the right place, and then I started with the bottom, because the bottom, I know that's a nice straight edge, and then I work upwards from there. So now I've finished. You might like to do a trunk using either a piece of white paper or a piece of magazine, or you can draw it in. So I'm going to use my black pen to draw it in. You could use any other colour pen. I think black's going to go well with mine. And then I'm going to do a white outline around all of my pieces. So if I've made sure to stick all the edges down really well, I don't even have to use a ruler to go around all of these. I can just do it freehand and colour it all the way around in white, just around each edge. So there we go. Here are the two Christmas trees, my one before and the one I've done just now. And then the baubles as well. So there's a few different techniques there. You could swap and change techniques. So for example, you could even cut the baubles up and do them like I've done the Christmas tree, or vice versa. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you continue enjoying experimenting.